Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Have you ever felt like your life was pretty much like, picture perfect and suddenly everything just kind of falls apart?
Oh, yeah, totally.
No.
I think we've all had those moments where we think we have it all figured out, the job, the family, the house, and then boom, something totally unexpected happens and shakes everything up.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what we're going to be diving deep into today. A contemporary fiction novel that really explores that whole idea of like, what happens when life throws you a massive curveball
Mm.
and you have to kind of piece everything back together.
It's really interesting to think about, like what happens to our support systems when things like that happen, Like who do we turn to when our traditional ideas of family and support maybe don't fit anymore?
Right? And that's what's so cool about this book. It centers around this woman named Lila. And she's going through like a seriously tough time. Her husband, Dan, just up and left. And then not long after that, her mom passes away.
Wow, so she's dealing with like a double whammy of loss and upheaval.
Exactly. She's got two daughters to raise on her own. She's trying to keep her writing career afloat. And then to top it all off, she's suddenly got these two unexpected house guests, her mom's elderly partner, Bill, and her estranged father, Gene, who's this like kind of over-the-top aging actor.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a recipe for some serious chaos and some potentially interesting dynamics.
Oh, absolutely it is. And one of the things I loved most about this book was Layla's voice.
Yeah.
She's so witty and relatable, like you could totally feel her trying to navigate this crazy new normal.
Mm.
And her internal monologue about it all is just hilarious and so honest.
I think that's so important in stories like this, right? To have that balance of humor and realness. Because let's face it, life can be pretty absurd sometimes, especially when you're dealing with grief and big changes and a house full of eccentric characters.
For sure. And that's one of the things that really shines through in this book is the humor. It's not like slapstick or anything, but it's this kind of warm and understated humor that comes from the relationships between these very different characters.
Yeah, like you've got Bill, who seems like this kind of quiet, grounding presence, and then Gene, who's the total opposite, all theatrical and unpredictable. I'm curious to see how those personalities clash and also how they maybe connect with Leela and her daughters.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point. And it's really cool to see how these like unexpected relationships start to form. Like you have this family that's been broken apart in different ways, and then suddenly they're all thrown together and they have to figure out how to make it work.
It's almost like the universe is forcing them to redefine what family means, Like it's not just about blood ties, but about the people who show up for you and support you when you need it most.
I love that. And that's such a powerful message, right? That family can be found in the most unexpected places. And sometimes it's the people who we least expect who end up being our biggest source of strength.
Right. And it's also a reminder that even in the midst of loss and upheaval, there can be moments of real beauty and connection and even laughter. It's like that saying, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. And sometimes those unplanned moments turn out to be the most meaningful.
Absolutely. And I have to say that while I really enjoyed this book,
Mm.
there were definitely moments where it felt a little overwhelming. Like Leela is dealing with so much at once.
Mm-hmm.
The heartbreak, the grief, the pressure of raising teenagers on her own. And then on top of it all, she's got these two older men with their own needs and quirks living under her roof.
Yeah, I can see how that could feel a bit much at times. Like it's almost mirroring the chaos that a lot of us experience in real life, where it feels like everything is happening all at once and you're just trying to keep your head above water.
Exactly. And I think that's what the author was going for, to create this really authentic portrayal of what it's like to navigate a major life transition when everything feels uncertain and you're constantly being pulled in different directions.
Yeah. And I think that's also what makes Leela such a relatable character. She's
Hmm.
not perfect. She makes mistakes. She gets overwhelmed, but she keeps going and she finds humor and moments of grace even in the toughest of times.
Right. And she also learns to rely on others, which is something I think a lot of us struggle with. We want to be independent and strong, but sometimes we need to let people in and allow them to help us.
And that's a really valuable lesson, right? Especially in a society that often glorifies self-reliance and independence. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that we need help and reach out to others for support.
So yeah, I think overall this is a really compelling read. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's messy, and it's ultimately a story about resilience and the power of human connection.
And it definitely leaves you thinking about your own definitions of family and support and how
Mm.
those things can evolve and change over time.
Totally. So to sum it all up, I'd give this book a solid 4 out of 5 stars. It's a great read for anyone who's ever felt like their life has been turned upside down and is trying to figure out how to put the pieces back together.
And it's a reminder that even when things feel like they're falling apart, There's always hope, and there's always the possibility of finding new and unexpected sources of love and support.
Okay, so that's our deep dive for today, folks. We hope you enjoyed this conversation about the book, and if you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into amazing books.
And if you've read this book, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What resonated with you? What was your favorite moment or relationship in the story?
And if you're thinking of giving this book a read, we highly recommend it. You can find a link to purchase it on Amazon in the description below.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone, and we'll see you next time for another literary adventure.
Happy reading, folks!